A number of the councillors are here and they've got the opportunity now to just introduce themselves so that you know who you're talking to when you're aiming the question. So, Alan.
Hi, Alison Luderman, Balclutha Ward Councillor.
Ken Payne, Balclutha Ward Councillor too, Deputy Mayor. Great to be here today, guys. It's this is our second day, and we're getting a real perspective of what the district's asking for from us. So great to be here today. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, Wayne Felt from Balclutha Ward Councillor, second term. Look forward to talking to some of you, see what's happening out there. Yeah.
Simon McTemney, Balclutha Valley Councillor, and enjoying seeing all the green grass over here.
Yeah, John Herbert, and I represent West Otago, so I know a fair few of you, and it's great to see everyone out and looking forward to a bit of a catch up. These guys think the sun always shines in West Otago, so we'll keep it up today. Thank you.
Kia ora everyone, I'm Jock Martin, I represent the LandsAirWater Ward, so a very close relative to you. Happy to be here today.
I'm Brent Mackey, I represent the Clinton Ward, and happy to be over here today.
Okay, thank you, team. So that's the lineup. That's the majority of the councillors, and I want to acknowledge that on a Sunday, I'm immensely proud of the commitment that our councillors are making. We know we're in a corner. We know our community, like the rest of New Zealand, is facing like never before the rate rises and the challenges, and it's great to have them on board. And I want to actually acknowledge in public the honour and the decency that we have in our councillors, that they are working in the best interests, and thank you, team, because it means a lot. So just a bit of a brief overview of where we're going. We're heading to Lawrence after this, so we've got a hall at past. I'm sure that we can get all the questions answered by then. Just to give you a wee quick rundown before we head to your questions, what we're trying to achieve today is we want you to put in your submission form. The submission form is the main interaction that the community have with us to influence our decisions around the long-term plan. And we know that long-term plan is challenging us like no long-term plan has ever challenged before. We also know that there's a lot of misinformation that we must swim through before we get to, there's enough challenges and facts in here that we have to deal with to not even worry about the irrelevance of some of the misinformation. So over the last 12 years as a council, we've moved our rating position in relation to the rest of New Zealand from one of the highest to Taxpayers Union 7th lowest. That's cold comfort when we start looking now at the trajectory we're on, which is principally pushed to us by the three waters. So over the next year, 80% of the increases that we're spending on your rates, 80% of it is in three waters. Over the next 10 years, there is the ghastly figure of just on 600 million in CapEx and OpEx just for three waters, for 6,947 urban ratepayers, which is predominantly the ones that are carrying the burden. We believe it's untenable, we believe it's unsustainable, and we are lobbying as hard as we can with the government to try and get changes. Unfortunately, where it stands right at the moment, we have to abide by the law says this is it. So we're putting out this document, but as we do it, we're fighting hammer and nail to try and get the changes that are needed, to try and get the sustainability, to try and get the critical mass that we will only get by collaboration with our partners. That in a nutshell is pretty much where we are. Please remember, we have to haul to the next one, and as I said,
I'll give you a 5 minute.
Kenny will give me a yell so that we'll try and get done. Yeah. Really appreciate, not everyone's got a foghorn of a voice like me, so we'll try and get that everyone will have the chance to have their questions asked. So if we can please just in an orderly fashion start asking questions. If you specifically want to ask John or whatever, get out with it.
And yes. I'll be just taking some notes, guys, so memory's not so great.
Kenny's my secretary. Yeah. Sir.
Hi, my name is Jerry. I'm new to the area.
Welcome,
I just introduced myself to you guys earlier. I'd just like to ask a question. Is the council, the councillors, claiming authority over the people regards the rates?
Claiming a what?
Authority over the people regarding their rates.
Claiming a party.
Claiming authority.
Authority.
Well, our democratic responsibility is that we have to act on your behalf. So I suppose in a democratic society, yes, we do have a responsibility.
Just last question. Do you have an exemption to the United Nations Civil and Political Rights, Article 8, which states nobody shall be held in slavery, because to claim authority over somebody, that goes against the Slavery Act in the United Nations?
I will say that, you know, so often we've heard of a United Nations this or that. I can honestly say I've been in politics. I'm the second longest standing mayor in New Zealand, and I've never, ever heard of it. It has no part to play in anything we do. And I challenge all my councillors. Anyone ever heard anything about the United Nations? We've got so many things in here that we have to look at. So many of the realities are bloody hard. But let's focus on the reality, please.
So there's no exemption?
Hand on heart, we have nothing to do with the United Nations. It doesn't influence my vote. My vote is tempered by what my communities ask for and what we have the ability to do. And that's the
instructions from the government and not the ratepayer who pays your wages.
So obviously we're in the pecking order. The government makes the laws, and like yourselves, we have to follow the laws, and that's all we will do. But we are still in autonomy to ourselves.
Those laws are fraudulent. Why are you following fraudulent?
Hold on, the government's laws are, well, once again, if anyone here thinks that the laws of the land are fraudulent, take it up with your government, please. We've got real challenges right here.
Why are you following their direction? Why are you following government?
How fast did you drive over here, sir? We've all got laws to follow, and unfortunately, as much as we would like to see this changed, we have to abide by the laws of the land.
Why don't you answer the question?
I just did. We abide by the laws of the land.
You don't listen to a ratepayer, you're taking instruction from the government. You just said so. So you're employed by us and you're not even doing anything about it.
Does anyone here want to see a council break the law, go to court, and then follow the law? It's an unsustainable position that any council will be in. It's untenable.
You're already fraudulent, Mr. Canogan, before you even start talking.
I'll be very careful where you go with that.
Oh, you better be careful. Yeah.
I'll be very careful, because I know on my honour, I've said that if I ever lie to you, I will resign. On my honour, if I don't stick to doing the very best by you, I will resign, and I stand here today. But we will move on, because as we know, we're New Zealanders and we obey the law.
If we could just keep it so everyone gets a chance, guys, it'd be really good. Yeah.
Mr. Barrett, all the way from Awaka, welcome. Phil, good to see you without your Stop Three Waters t-shirt on.
Well, that works. We don't need it now. Hey, we got, just from yesterday, just checking a couple of things. So did Quarter Stewart offer to fix the pool in Milton?
Absolutely not.
Oh, well, they didn't. That's not that we're aware of. No. And just one other thing. I was looking at here, I only got this yesterday, so I was just looking at it. We're coming up with solutions to help you guys save money. That's what the idea is, right?
Yep.
That's what the idea of this is. I look on the page here. Oh, I should have lost it now. It's very vague. It just says things like extra expenses, and it's $12 million, but it's not actually listed as what it is. It just says.
Sorry, fella, you can't find it.
It's not there.
Struggling.
May I speak to
Yes,
you,
sir.
Brian? My name's Richard Burke.
Richard, welcome, Richard.
I came over and I had my co-writery a number of years ago.
Nice.
I've been here for 17 years in the Clutha district here, and I live in Harriet. And quite a lot of the people here will know me. I stand back and I look at these things perhaps a little differently. So I went online when the long-term plan was released the other day, and I looked at the front page, and it says that together we spent 180 million in the last 3 years. So I divided that by 3. I went onto the Statistics New Zealand website. The last census data is 2018. Ballpark with 19,000 people include the district. Ballpark with 9,000 ratepayers. If you divide that 190 by 3, divide it by 19, it's more 19,000. It's more than I pay in rates a year.
Yeah.
Divided by the 9,000 ratepayers, it's a bit less than 3 times what I pay in rates a year. So
I know where we are.
What I'm coming to here is, yes, there's money coming from a whole load of different government departments that supplements the money that we all pay as ratepayers. But that, to me, as a very small business owner, that to me immediately rings alarm bells. That immediately says to me, holy heck, we really need to pull the belt in and really knuckle down. So, you know, that being the case, I'm not here to rant and rave. I'm here to say I'm concerned about the future. Being in Harriet, as John will know, you know, we've been on a boil water notice for more than 12 months. You know, the communication from the council around that has been absolutely abhorrent. But park that for a minute. You know, do I find it frustrating that the council decided, without consulting its ratepayers, to take on what you have just said is 600 million worth of expense with the Three Waters going forward, without coming and talking to us?
No, that's what we're doing
Yeah,
now.
yeah, but you've already started. You've already made all these direct hires. You know, I directly communicated with John to try and put in some input. This is not a criticism of you, John. To try and put in some rational, local, common sense thinking, and it was too hard basket.
So can I say first?
How are you going to involve people who are thinking?
So
How
firstly,
are you going to involve us going forward?
Can I thank you for looking? So the information was there to date, and the places that we can come to pay for the extraordinary bills that are coming through are rates and debt. So the rates that you say are paid about a third of the world changed with the establishment of Te Mata Arawa. The regulator has been snapping at our throat now for 4 years. So that's why our debt has gone up. We had no debt. Now at the end of this year, we'll be at $111 million of debt, net 77 million because we do have investment. Please note, you do not, can I really make it clear, you do not add internal debt to external debt. But those are the figures and the things that I really appreciate you looking at, because it's in there that you're facing the same challenges as us.
Who's the creditor?
How the hell do we pay for it?
Who's the creditor?
I hear what you're saying, but if you want us to engage with you in a meaningful way, you need to find a way of empowering us to speak, because the long-term plan, such as I read it, it's very wide, it's very, you know, and the feedback mechanism, it's very wide, it's very varied, and there's a lot of stuff in there that, I'm speaking for myself, but maybe I'm speaking for other people. You said to me, what's really important right now? We've got bugger all money. We don't want to take on more debt than we have to. We all love living here and we want to go forward. What's the things that really matters to you? It's the Three Waters and maybe roading. You know, to put your submission in the
So that is brilliant.
Absolutely, but
and here we are today. You know,
find a way of us working together better to actually address these things, like with Harriet, for instance.
I think today this is working in, and I really want to thank everyone for coming. So that's 600 million that we are confronted with over the next 10 years. That's what we're here today about, but that's only Three Waters. We've also got the third longest roading network in New Zealand. We've got the halls, the everything.
We know that.
So,
please let people ask questions.
so the lady over there was next with the questions. So can I go to the lady and then I promise I'll come to you? Yeah, so we've got investment, so it's 111, but the investment we got with Nico, if you take the investment off, we're net 77. We've got 30-something million in the bank account. So to give you the reason I said the 77 was because we were worried that the misinformation that had gone out with the internal and the external had a figure of 140. Hand on heart, and the figure is changing because it was 111. It will be on the end of year bills where that ends up. But 111 minus the investment, as it stood a week ago, was 77 net.
Yeah, but we are paying interest on 111 million.
Yep.
My God, you guys should be asking for audits here, holding them personally accountable.
We have Audit New
You
Zealand.
need
has already
audits to do
audited
it. You
all
bring
the
your
figures,
own auditor in.
Excuse me, ma'am, I did promise
that.
that I'll go to this guy.
So when you say about the Three Waters stuff, the way I see it is all your contractors drive over from Balclutha, well 90% of them do, to here to do the infrastructure in Tapanui. We have people in our own community that would be willing to take those jobs on, and that's over 2 hours a day more productive.
Yeah.
So why aren't we pushing into the local contractors to do more of our work?
John, I'd say that Tapanui's been one of the...
Oh, Barry Munro does some of it, and you know well and truly that there's other people also cruise around and do it.
I promise I'll come to you, Ray, once
they're very complex, those treatment plants. So we have treatment plant operators employed by us, and Barry's the reticulation for all of West Otago.
Correct.
So he's as local as
so
you
why
can.
would we see Andrew's contracting one of them, Andrew's
Definitely need an audit.
And also, the operators are driving over from Balclutha every
Well,
single
they
day.
live in
to
different
do it.
parts of the district.
But that's still money wasted. For 2
Well, if
hours
you
a
want the
day
right people for
over
the
a
right
whole
jobs,
year,
then
you
some
could
of-
train
some
someone
run
else to
smoothly.
do it in their own community, is what I'm saying.
Can I, the submission, I'd love you, put it down on the submission and that gives you the highlight.
Yeah, be very clear.
Sorry,
with it.
sir. Ray. Hold on, and we'll just have it so Ray can be heard.
Yeah, I'm a local, I'm a ratepayer, I'm also a civil union. How do you expect people like myself and people that rent houses to bloody pay you?
In all honesty, I'll stand here and say that I believe that the figure that we've been forced to produce is unsustainable. And that's why we're fighting with the government. Please, for God's sake, there's got to be the intervention. We were on
the buggers that got us into this situation.
No, we were not the buggers. As soon as Tomato Aloha was set up, that was the catalyst. The regulators snapping.
You relied on the government to bail you out.
No, we didn't. The reforms were going to collaborate the governments and get the efficiency, collaborate the local councils and get the efficiencies we needed. That was wrenched away from us.
How much did you borrow to give as a grant to the hub?
From who? Who's the creditor?
Yeah, and from who?
You need to know who the creditor is here.
I'll hand over to Kenny for the hub.
How much is a ratepayer paying in interest on the money that you borrowed to pay the hub?
What are you doing on the trust and you're a councillor?
And you're
I'm a trustee
also
on the hub.
There's two jobs, that's a conflict.
Can we answer the question? Thank you.
So if I can answer the hub question, the hub has cost $25 million for a round figure. Please don't quote the discrepancy. It might be $100,000 here, lower actually, I believe. We got $10 million for council in round figures. We got $10 million from central government. We did the rest with third party funding, grants, $5 million, grants and fundraising. So 60% of the cost of that came from outside of this district. I'm very proud of this business. It's going flat out. It's a great asset for our district.
You're talking about the water. I live up in Bushy Hill Street. For 4 years, I watched the bloody main pump out water, thousands of gallons a bloody day, going down the street.
You asked a question about the hub, so we're changing tanks.
Yeah, so as far as the water went, we were quite open in the fact that we brought the water back in-house so that we could take control of the operation. We weren't happy with where it was at. And I'd like to think that there's been a substantial lift in the quality and service that you're getting. If I go back to the hub, because I've got a dim-witted brother over in Central Otago, on the same day as our Balclutha town hall got done as earthquake prone, so did Cromwell's. Now, Calder Stewart is a magnificent firm and they stuck to a just over $24 million bill, of which the ratepayers paid 10, of which the Balclutha catchment pays 80% of that. $10 million for that facility out of the ratepayers, and I know my brother's Cromwell Hall is over $40 million, and at the moment it will all come out of ratepayers. I thank the community group that put together that project. We've got a magnificent asset, and actually when we go over to Balclutha that's paying the overwhelming majority of it, no one complains because they love the asset. And when we backed up the community's hospital here, it was the same money.
You told us it was $7 million yesterday we put in as ratepayers.
$7.5 million is ratepayers and $2.5 million is reserves. So if you want actual, what did the ratepayer pay? They paid $10 million.
Yeah, well, you said 7.5.
No, we didn't, Phil. You don't listen.
No, I did listen.
They rates on
7.5.
These guys are accountable for the decisions they make over you. How many charge them for the COVID event? How many?
Can you direct the questions to here?
Can I ask you
Yes,
why,
certainly.
in this here, there's lots of talk about risk from rising sea levels, which is actually BS. We haven't had rising sea levels yet since they've been predicted. But why did you build the new hub right beside the river?
Oh, sure it's fraud here.
Right beside the river.
Sure it's fraud.
Think about the hub. Think about the hospital, the old people that live there.
Hub, hospital, the whole town.
Here, could you just hush for a minute, if it's possible? You have gone in here and spoken a lot about flood management, and you built that expensive building right by the river. There's plenty of hills in Balclutha.
we consider it a prime site that you can.
A prime site for a flood. It is a prime site for a flood.
That building is one
Stand
metre
over
above the
tactics.
ground to floor level, and in its history, the old hall was the same, and it had never in
why
its
is
history
this-
been flooded.
So why is there so much stuff in here about flood banks and risk?
Oh, I agree. We've got to take climate change seriously.
Climate change.
Climate change, events, insurance fraud.
What would you guys tell your children and your grandchildren what you did to protect their assets here? What are you going to tell them?
Yes, well, I know that. Let's have the discussion on Tapanui, but we're over in Balclutha, we'll be having the meeting on Wednesday night, and I know that as a town, we're quite comfortable with the flood protection we got. We know that it won't mitigate against all floods, but the design of the new hall is up high enough that it's meant to be able to take a decent flood if it did happen.
But there's a lot of
We're
forestry
hoping
up
that it
here.
doesn't flood because that's our largest town in the district.
Look what happened in Gisborne and all that slash.
How many meetings did you have with the ratepayers about spending all this money?
That's what we're doing now.
No, how many meetings before you organised all this?
Several. We had a community consultation right at the very beginning of the process.
And what was the feedback?
People wanted change.
People want you to
In
spend that money.
Balclutha,
Are you meaning the hub or are you
talking
meaning the
about the hub.
Yeah,
wide?
it's a divided it here. It's a divide here.
The overall, that's what we're doing here today.
So just one fact, guys.
No, it's not.
Can I just give you one fact? This is not a council project. This was a community project.
But you're answering as councillors.
No, Kenny, what I'm saying is the
conflict of
wider
interest.
long-term plan, and that's what we're here for today.
Yeah.
Not only are we here today to listen, this is only one part of it. We want to be able to answer the questions, but most importantly, we want you to fill in a submission. And on top of filling in the
you need to
submission, come and
submit.
do the verbal. So that on the day that we make it the decision, because the democratic process is, whether we like it or not, the responsibility is on this team here. You have the opportunity to have your say through written submission. You can also double it up with a verbal submission. And then that's what winning an election actually means. You get the responsibility of having to make that decision. And I'm immensely proud of the thousands of hours that this team's put in to be able to make the best decision on
Would
your
it not be
behalf.
better to do a declaration rather than a submission? To submit under your authority that you can do what you want to do?
We're coming out with that as a proposal for you to consult with you and get the balance between what is in
And
there
how's
and what
that
you
worked
want
so
and what
far,
you don't
everyone?
want.
Hasn't, has it? Audits. They're accountable for their decisions. They are personally accountable.
If we do go
Invoice
back to
them.
the audit, and welcome Lloyd, I can see the ORC over the back there, and Lloyd will know too, when you come out with one of these forms, they are audited. To give you an idea how much they're audited,
That's
they questioned
money.
me on a $7.50 cup of coffee last year for a $1.4 billion organisation. We're audited up the wahoo.
Yeah, but only by the same auditors.
Sorry, Brian, are the consultation documents audited, or is it just?
That's what
money.
we were telling you before you went away with your meetings, that we can't talk until they're audited. Those documents are audited.
Stop, please, because I've got the email off Steve who said that they were never going to be audited. He said
Never
figures-
going to be audited.
High five.
The figures and the background information is verified by the auditors. They are correct. That's why we were waiting for
He
the
said they
auditors
weren't
to
gonna
come
be
out.
audited. He said I was wrong to say that I was waiting for the audit, and you're just saying they were all audited.
Bring in your
The
own
figures-
auditors, people.
Community engagement for people that live in the local community that
Yeah.
want to speak.
Yes, sir.
How much assets have you got, council?
The council assets are just on 1.4 billion.
Well, who's the council? Hang on, who's the council?
We the people.
So we've got the third longest roading network in New Zealand. Can't sell a scrap of tar seal. We've got the water. That's for you, for your communities. We can't sell that. They're assets, they're book assets, but very few of them are tangible. Go and sell them
Shares,
assets.
haven't you?
Pardon?
You've got shares?
Oh, we've got those investments, but a lot of the investments are like Sudal and the forestry that are tied up. Yeah, and we.
Why don't you sell it off and bloody use the money to pay?
Yeah, no, we
lower
did do
rates?
that. We sold it off, and that's in the investment account. And we gave a promise to the community when we made that move
What about
that
your
we would
shares?
not use that money. We would keep it invested so that in perpetuity, the people and generations to come get the benefit.
Now's the time to sell it when we're in the
and
shit.
as of today, the money that's in that investment account came through at 14%. Thank goodness we've got a
So
cavalry
own
like
a
that
motel,
coming
do
through.
You own a motel in Balclutha too, do you?
Own a motel?
Yeah.
Another bit of gibberish conspiracy.
We
I'd
can
say.
check that. We can check it. Don't worry. I know how
Please
to do
do.
that.
Please
Broad
do.
Street.
Yep, sell your assets to help lower the bloody rates.
Make
well,
him
as I said,
accountable
the only
for his
asset that we
decisions.
really have is the investment. Yes, sir, over the back.
Yes, Jeff, I'm a local here.
Hi, Jeff.
I've been here 3 years, came down from Christchurch, love it. Two things that are getting up my nose. One is you go on about the water here, how you've taken it over and it's under a lot better control. Well, we ended up putting carbon filter on ours to filter all the shit out. I replace it every 6 months. Last week, about 3 months, I got this big long-winded email about this, that, and everything else. Put another filter on the front. My question was quite simple. What happened to the water in the period around November, that short period of time that everyone else is drinking, and everyone was drinking unaware of what was going on? The only reason I was on waiting that I took a kilo of shit out the water.
Wow.
My question was a simple, this is what happened, 1, 2, 3, 4, we didn't get that. Second point about the water, we reported over a month ago, we have a mains going past our front door, it's got the hydrant on it. We reported over a month ago that there was a leak in the ground when we mowed the lawn. That has got to the point now when you walk over, you can't walk over it, it's now going in through the ground and into the gutter and running down. That's a month ago. We get these notes, please conserve water, because this is what we need to do. And a month down the track, nothing's been done to fix it. So why should we get excited when we get a note when you guys don't seem to care about coming and fixing it?
Because they're lying.
No, no.
Sorry,
They're
we
lying
can
to you
go
about the water.
John. Excuse me, ma'am.
Operational one as far as the dirty water goes. I mean, that's you got the antenna app. You can put and you can put a request in and put a service request in.
To be fair though, John,
As
we
far as
don't get anything.
as far as the water goes, is it the leak? Is it how far away from the road is it?
It's on the grassroots out front.
So Barry has to have a traffic management plan for every leak. So he will leave. And it costs a lot of money. So he will wait until there's 3 or 4 or 5 leaks before he'll do them all at once in one traffic management plan.
If you change your description, got slanty eyes, you get the water for free.
High five.
That's a shutdown that's been planned, isn't it? Yeah. So that's just maintenance going on at the park.
So you won't be able to be bringing water meters while ever you've got these massive bloody leaks around the town.
Well, they're not. They're leaks, but not massive leaks. And I said to try and save money, to try and keep it, to try and keep it, you know, to try and keep the cost down. Can you imagine Barry
You've
every
got
time?
bloody people
Let me
running
finish.
around.
Let me finish. Everyone's having. So if there's a leak there tomorrow, and Barry spends quite a lot of money, get a traffic management plan, and then another leak up there. The next day, you're going, oh, that's crazy. Why is he doing that? Why wouldn't he do it all at once? That's what he's doing.
I'm not saying that. But what you've got people running around on the council that work for the council, running around and using that on their private time, and you allow it to happen. Ratepayers are paying for all that. When work stops, the council should bloody say that's it. No more driving around council vehicles.
Depends on their
contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys are meant to bloody be firing them and stating what they can have and what
Well,
they
if
can't
you want
have.
good people in your organisation, sometimes you have to pay, and whatever it costs, and whatever it has to get those good people on the ground.
What, so when we can't put food on the table for our families because we're paying for the rates, but it's okay to pay some council worker more, how does that make us
We've got
feel?
to maintain our system. We've got to operate our system.
Well, clearly you're not.
You're not hearing that the people here are hurting. People here are frustrated.
That's why we're here for.
So make them
frustrated
accountable
with
for
what
their
we perceive
decisions.
as an ineptitude with respect to council spending and money, and the water is probably the biggest single thing. So, you know, how do we engage properly? Because there's a lot of emotion.
I think it's brilliant that we are engaging, and the one thing that I want to really stress is, with the creation 3.5, 4 years ago of Te Mata Arawa, you had a regulator that will take you to court. The ball game changed that day. Since 1947, when Public Health South were the regulator, they never prosecuted one council. We were able to cut our cloth to suit. Now if we don't do it, the regulator takes us to court, and then we do it. And we're feeding a system that's in the South Island. There's a 27% deficit, or at one stage last year, the last I heard, there's a 27% deficit in the staff in Three Waters. So we're going after a real deficit in staffing, and if we don't do the job, we go to court. Then we have to pay even more. We're in a ghastly bind, and that's why the costs are coming in.
Can I understand?
Oh, so it's all legal
they are
costs.
Useless as well. They're another bureaucratic organisation. So I'm here very honestly and openly saying, hey, I don't like what's gone before, but I'm keen to participate. There's some people here that there's some noise, you know, and there's you know, whatever you want to call it. You know, but I'm sure there are a lot of people in the community that want to engage proactively and constructively.
So what does that look like? Can you elaborate a wee bit on that?
Okay, so
that's what we need to
an
understand.
example.
What does that look like? Because we're here, you've got your
people
local
being
council.
involved in the community boards. I guess it's yeah. I don't know. You know, there's a breakdown of communication. Yeah, I'm outside of the community board organisation, John. Yeah, but you know,
in what way you talking about?
I'm just saying that there needs to be more engagement from people who are in the community but haven't perhaps actively engaged with the council, and it needs to be in a positive and constructive way. And there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of, you know, I feel it. You feel it from me. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of stuff that's really irrelevant to actually, right, what's core? What do we have to do now? How do we make that better? How do we make that?
Right now, I want to see you do a written submission. There is no use coming here and not doing a written submission. Back it up with a verbal and actually engage. You know, you've got a brilliant community board. Barbara Hanna and the team are up at that RSA building every 6 weeks. And if you came, they will not only engage, sorry ma'am, I will come to you straight away. Go and see your community board. I think Barbara and the team, I look around this town, it's spick and span. You can be awfully proud of this town. And a lot of it is done through the good hard work of the locals. So
And
go
they're
and
all
see
open
them.
meetings?
Yeah, they're all open. Ma'am.
Sorry.
All your meetings are held at the time of day that we've all got to go to work. If we don't go to work, we can't pay our rates.
How convenient.
Oh, there you go.
A model like that makes it easier because then we can't say what we've got to say.
Yeah.
We can't listen.
So
You need to call a public meeting. That's what you need to do. A public meeting.
we
And if
could
don't
have it, and
Sam.
never ever have I known that anyone has asked for a community board meeting at night time. But John, is it an option? for-
Mark's in an email, and Mark's been answered by to
Have you been given the opportunity to do that?
Aren't you going to build a new bloody library too, aren't you?
In
There's a
Milton.
lady down here
Yeah,
that's
and
been
the
waiting for a
hospitals.
question for a while, Brian. I think we should.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
ma'am, I couldn't see you behind.
Yeah. Right.
I'm standing in the way.
Money doing that when you should be saving.
Hold on a
Sorry,
tap.
we'll
We
give
will
the
come
good
back
lady
to you,
a
but this lady's been waiting.
Raywin Chatfield.
Hi, Raywin.
I want to move positively forward
Thank
to,
you.
instead of looking back because obviously you can't change a lot of that. But I want to find out about the three waters and how do we get the government to come to the party, or have they just wiped their hands of the three waters?
That's a great question.
Great question.
How do the public?
So everything hinges for this on that. So I met with Simeon Brown 2 weeks ago in Queenstown. We met with them all in Christchurch. We are pleading with them, but in fairness, there's a transition that they've got to go through because the Stop Three Waters reforms took away the chance for councils to make the changes. I'm really worried at the moment that we're starting to have the smaller conversations, like if Brother Tim and I decided let's try and put something together between Central Otago and Clutha, you've still got big land masses with all these wee hamlets. We're not really going to get any advantage.
A submission's not going to do that.
Oh, look,
though.
please,
No,
put a
it's not.
submission in and say that, please.
The submission.
So the submission is that we need to have government intervention. Please
I'm
do
not
it.
going to listen.
We would love to be backed up by you to say that we need that support, to go to the government, that we need these changes. If you look at it from a South Island perspective, Christchurch City, Waimakariri District and Selwyn District is 500,000 of the million of the South Island, all concentrated in that one wee area. If we could hold hands with them, who you and I all did up their infrastructure, their Three Waters infrastructure with the earthquake without hesitation as New Zealanders, we did up their infrastructure. If we could get that collaboration and break what we've got, because at the moment we've got 21 mayors mouthing off. We've got 21 lots of councils, we've got 21 CEOs, we've got 21 senior management, we've got 21 workforces, all doing their own thing to compete in a very small tender market. Get the politicians
Then how come
out of
it's so
it, get the
expensive?
councils out and put in 4 or 5 people that know what they're doing on long-term infrastructural management. Then you would have the efficiency and we would be back here in no time with something that we could all handle. Please bring that submission to us.
That submission is aiding them
Yes,
on something
please.
else.
As well. Building consent process is another example.
Yeah. So, ma'am.
I'm just wondering, John, could you finish answering that gentleman's question about what was in the water during that period?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to them in a minute, and we'll get an operation, get some dates and times.
Yeah, let us all hear.
Because operational stuff, I mean,
We'll publish it.
16 water treatment plants every day operating. So that particular one on that particular day is we'll find out. Absolutely, I'll go and see the gentleman shortly.
So why are you still building bloody big flash buildings?
So, plain and simple, we went and we embraced our communities, and I see our body here, you know, West Otago said they wanted their health facility. Well done, Al and the team, what a magnificent asset that is to the town. We had a population back about 25 years ago of 19,200. It plummeted down to 16,400, and predominantly that was our young ones, turned the back on our district. Over the last 10 years, we have come and we have embraced our communities, and we said what is needed to bring our young ones back. West Otago Health was one of them, the facility over there, the spick and span town. That's what brings young ones back, and we're immensely proud of the part that the council's played in bringing that back to 19,000. If we were still a declining population, what a God-forsaken place we would be right now, and boy, we would be in 10 times more trouble than we are. So this is the balancing act that each and every one of us has to have. How many projects do we do to not stall that population? How much debt, how many rates hit the government?
That's why
That's
you need
about
an
our
audit.
game, despite what... Sorry, man, where are you from? Because I don't know you.
Yeah.
Who are you? Where are you from?
What do you mean, where am I from? I'm from
You
here.
come from the North Island. We are here trying to engage with
Yeah, I'm
our
just
locals.
saying they need an audit.
Yes, you certainly are. Can we please have the locals talk? Sir.
You talk about township house really tidy and everything like that. We have a housing shortage that basically we struggle to get workers coming in. My question, I'm sort of trying to change the tone of this whole meeting because it's going around in circles. In my view, it's not answering what we're here for.
No, it's not.
Like assets like the Tapanui racecourse, that's one of your assets, is that correct?
Community board asset, I think.
What thoughts have been given? How do we change the direction we're going to get some income from something different? I.e., what about making that Tapanui racecourse sitting there doing nothing, turning it into a subdivision?
Well, it's not doing nothing. It's the AMP grounds are out there. It's
Well, a show once a year, it takes up, you know, not a huge area. There's a lot of land out the back. Why not look at an option of, say, putting a subdivision in there?
It pays a lease now, so it's not like there's no income. It does pay. The racing club actually leased it. Yep.
We've got a housing shortage. You're looking for revenue.
Yep.
I just paid $6.5 grand capital contribution for my sewer to be connected. 1,500 water contributions. There's quite a nice little sum just from my little piece of land. You put a subdivision in, get everyone coming in, putting their money into that contribution as well. Is try and think outside the square.
Couldn't agree more. And that's part of it. Even talking to Roger Stewart and people a while ago, there's a lot of sections around. A lot of people need workers. We've been the last 2 or 3 years absolutely 100% couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. We are like we've done. Well, the big one in Balclutha, 73.
But what we've been working on the subdivisions in Tapanui with the locals for a number of years.
A few years ago, the wee one was all nice houses coming in. Yeah, so there's other bits around. We're in the process now. There's identifying some plots of land around Tapanui.
Yeah.
Because they're the perfect ones to do for start off because they've already got the roading, you know, footpath, curbing, channeling, all that sort of stuff right there.
Right.
We have learnt that doing a standalone subdivision, the costs on that per section are quite expensive, and we're not quite sure. You know, that's. The beauty of us doing it is we're not driven by profit. All we have to do is cover the costs, as opposed to someone privately doing it. But couldn't agree more. We are, you know, housing. If we can do that, absolutely.
But I think that's what we need to be focusing on more here.
We are. Yep. I'll catch it.
So, team, can I just put in, because we are off to Lawrence next, and in fairness to them, there'll be a gathering. I'll try and get first timers, ma'am.
I'm just wondering exactly what, because there's a lot of conjecture around what the rate increase is going to be. Is it 14% over 3 years? Is it 25% over 3 years? Is it 25? What is it? What is it?
So the original task that we had to do is we made a promise, as we have done every other year, on a rate cap. We will never breach that. So we went out at 25%. That is not the rate increase. It's the same as the 4% rate cap. It's a different mechanism. If you look at the rates that we're going out with this year, it's just on 20%. But in the urban, John, help me for Tapanui to get it.
15.2.
15.2, which is way and a day above where we want to be. But as I say, with 80% of the additional cost being 3 waters, Te Mata Arawa snapping away. But it is our promise to you that we're doing everything we can to lobby central government to make the changes and to listen to our communities to contain. I can't promise you that we're going to be back to the old 4% and the driving rates down. That's not the environment that any council in New Zealand is in. But we're doing the best in extraordinary conditions.
That's 15% over 3 years.
No, 15% first year. John, help me out.
Yeah, and then I think it's 25 after that, and then drops down. I've got some. I can show you in a minute.
Yeah, we can't settle on those figures until we know what.
There's a long-term plan.
So the consultation that we're doing with you today, if you say pull back on this, lift forward on that, so that is the initial indication. We do the consultation, we embrace the public, we listen to what you're saying. We have the verbal submissions coming up at the end of May, and then the tasks are really hard for these guys. Ma'am, two more questions.
Can I ask how many vanity projects you're going to put the brakes on then?
Well,
because you just absolutely have to stop spending.
We were just at Clinton before we were here. The vanity projects, as we put it, are $80,000 for Clinton. We've got 600 million in Three Waters capex and opex over the next 10 years. Am I going to tell Clinton, for the sake of 80,000, your hopes and dreams, because that's the vanity for Clinton? And then we get into the problem that you take away those things that might bring some vibrancy to the town, and the population drops off, and we're into that de-escalation of the population. These are the levers that you and us have to consider, but I am really frightened that if we pull it on, we're back down to the 16,000, and what a godforsaken position we'd be in there.
Do that and hope that it doesn't happen.
There'll certainly be a bit of it. But one more question. Love it from a first timer.
They'll go up.
Spread over less people. We spread over less people. Yeah, but it'll be spread over less people. So great powers.
Yeah. So, oh yes, ma'am.
Like as a younger member of the generation that lives in Balclutha, like I did for a short period of time, I'm quite tech savvy, as are most of my peers my age. Like I personally would find it like, this is scaring the shit out of me right now, but for me to like say this was in a meeting hall, for me as a young person going in, like my kids are sitting in the truck watching Netflix right now. It's not ideal, it's just what you have to do as a working parent. I can't come to the meetings during the day. I've got work, I've got kids to deal with. My generation, we deal with apps like this, like getting someone 20 or 30 in their young 30s to fill out a piece of paper and a submission. It's like that's something that old people do in their spare time. Like, in my, like that's my unit. Probably the view of a lot.
No, look, and we're so we've got those options. We've got to do it online, to do it on paper. We have people going around. You could go up to the library if that's going to. So we're trying to get it for all.
So just with a downloadable.
Yep, that's what we've got. So that's all in here. Absolutely. We would love you to fill it in online. All online, and we would expect that we would get more online, but we've also got to accommodate those that do it by paper. So we've got, I'm going to go to one last one, and then our apologies we do. I'll go to them there because they're first timers.
Mine is simply a statement. This is a really big thing. It's huge. Your actual 10-year plan is like a 200 and something page document. We've got weeks to do a submission, and there's no way that we can know everything there is to know about this process, and ultimately it feels you've just made your mind up and you're going to do whatever you do, and our submissions actually aren't worth anything.
I can give you the assurance, and I do give you the assurance that these people are here, I'm here, hand on heart, listening to you. We're desperate to get the balance right, and I know that it is a cumbersome document, but then when you're 1.4 billion, you can't put it on one page.
Maybe that's half the problem. It's 1.4 billion, but it's 19,000 people.
Hold on, that's exactly the problem. We're going to go here to finish and then over to there.
It's an increase of rates.
No, hold on, I'm down there and then behind
you. You need to explain that. Next year, $1,500 rate increase. You better explain that on your 600 million at 5% is 32 million divided by 19,000 is $1,500 rate increase. You need to stand up and tell these people that's what's happening.
We've just stood here and said that there is a combination of debt and rates.
Who's the creditor?
If we put it all on rates, the rates would be wholly held up behind. So it's a combination, but we've got the guy with the glasses on the back, and then we're going to have to get moving.
It's just a statement. I'd just like to thank you guys for coming out and doing this. But can we please have it indoors, like the RSA or somewhere like that? It's not the traffic, there's people we can't hear, and that. So
Can I say, and I will just sneak there and then go on, this is my 13th soapbox. We usually fit the entire crowd on that green mat there. I think 5 or 6 might have been the most that ever came out. So I really appreciate the fact that you have given up your time on Sundays. You have come and talked to the councillors, but that's not the end of it. If you don't fill in a submission, you haven't truly done the most you can, and if you don't back it up with a verbal, you're missing out on a trick too. I'm going to go to one, and then we're going to have to bid farewell.
Hi, I'm Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Just a comment really. The online submission format, it doesn't allow you to sort of save what you've already written and come back to it. That would be really helpful if you could actually, because you can't always just get your thoughts down on paper at one point in time. You just need to be able to come back to it.
So the last page just says any other comments, and we're hoping that
we often get 2 submissions from the same person. I'm thinking that's why, because you come back and you go back again after a few days.
Is there no way to have it so that you can actually formulate it over?
Yeah, well, right.
Fair call. We're boomers. Sorry, don't know, but we will try. Hey everyone, our apologies. Lawrence is waiting. Please remember, fill out the forms, stay engaged, and really appreciate your commitment. Kia ora, everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.